I love horror. In the past, I would read nothing but. It encapsulated my every reading and viewing experience for years. There was just something about how much these works, when done well, could be so emotionally and intellectually viable that made them so appealing. In this regard, I've only had one complaint: the dearth of female contributors to the genre. Sure, we have Anne Rice, but she hasn't written anything that's appealed to me since Men Mock the Devil. Now we have Stephanie Meyer, but to put her works of paranormal teenage lust under the horror umbrella is severely misguided. But then recently I discovered Amanda Hocking's Hollowland, and this is horror done just about perfectly. Hollowland is the story of Remy, a 19-year-old survivor of the zombie apocalypse. The novel throws you right into the action. At the beginning, the quarantine she is living in, somewhere in the Nevada desert, falls under attack by the hungry undead. She escapes, along with a 13-year-old girl named Harlow. Remy's younger brother Max, who also lived there, had been evacuated when the invasion began. Remy, as his only surviving family member, takes it upon herself to find him once more. Remy and Harlow head north in search of Max. Along the way, they meet up with Blue, a not-quite doctor, and Laszlo, a young man who'd been in one of those pop-punk bands before the world collapsed. Remy also, in one of the quirkier aspects of the book, discovers a lioness hooked up to a trailer. Remy saves the lion and it becomes another travel companion, one that is, since animals are immune to the virus that has destroyed modern civilization, indispensable when it comes to helping her small pride survive the various attacks that occur. So this odd group heads north, encounters zombies, fights zombies, gain new travel companions, watch some of those new companions die, and eventually reach the quarantine. And that's about it for the plot. It's basic as far as zombie tales go, but that's not what I found to be so likable about it. The characters are brilliant, Remy in particular. She's morose and unfriendly, an individual who's bound by her duty and her responsibility, and who has also been understandably tainted by her experiences following the end of the world. She carries herself with a quiet strength that is beautiful and haunting at the same time. Harlow, her companion, is still young and often a bit more sensible than her protector. She is prone to outbursts of immaturity, and she holds a longing for some sort of normality that causes her to look past certain aspects of the people they meet, aspects that could prove dangerous, in the anticipation that they could perhaps give her a safer, less hectic experience. Combine the two of them, and a somewhat depressing theme washes over the words. These are no more than children we have here, and the text doesn't lose sight of the fact that they've lost their childhoods. In fact, this is in some ways the main point, that the girls are girls, and they lament the fact they've had to become women so quickly. This is only one of the many themes presented within. Just as with the best horror, the monsters are simply part of the story, and the true moral is told with them as a backdrop. In fact, often it is the people themselves who are the real monsters. From the messianic zealot they meet, aptly named Korik, meaningful to those of you who remember Waco, to the violent marauders that populate one of the towns they come across, it ends up being regular old uninfected humans who beget some of the worst malevolence. And when you combine these ill-meaning actions with the sometimes selfish actions of Remy and her crew, you can see how those shades of gray filter into the characters, making every decision difficult. This adds to the hardline feel that Remy, in particular, encapsulates. She is a woman on a mission, after all. How much of herself is she willing to sacrifice? The answer, come the end of the book, is everything. I found very few flaws with this novel. It's told in first person, which isn't my favorite viewpoint, but for this it works. It allows us to see the world through Remy's jaded eyes, to feel her dissatisfaction and doubt, to understand how much she simply wants to be the teenager she is. In fact, come the final pages, it is only through her giving into her humanity when she finally allows herself to live, rather than simply survive, that she is able to follow through with the hardest choice she's made in her life. In that moment I cried out for her, wishing I could dive into the page and change her mind. Hollowland is a fast read. It's simple in structure but complex in emotion. Hocking doesn't shy away from the gore, but the violence of the piece doesn't overwhelm the reader. It has everything a horror novel should have, and is entirely captivating. Amanda Hocking is a master storyteller. She knows how to reel in her readers and keep them glued to her words. Anyone who has any interest at all in reading a well-told story needs to read this. It's fantastic, horrific, and strangely beautiful. Once you reach the open ending, you'll hope the writer decides to continue with Remy's tale, to carry out her journey till its end.